Hello everybody out there on YouTube, and welcome to race number 32 of Season 2 NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I'm Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Golden Corral 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway as we're getting set for 45 laps of great racing here at this very fast mile-and-a-half racetrack. But before we take a look at the starting lineup for today, let's take a look and see how the point standings are coming into the race this week. So after last week at Yas Marina Circuit, for the first time in quite a while, we've got a new points leader. Nelson Thornhill leads by 4 points over Chris Michaels, 8 points over David Rivera, 69 points over Dorian Facepuncher, and 86 over Rafael Leduc. So that is the top 5 fight for the championship right now, as after this race there is only 4 races left in the season. Rest of the top 10 in the points: 6th is Seth Cole, 7th Nathaniel Reed, 8th Joshua Sekuli, 9th DJ Curtis, 10th Emmanuel Hartnett. Rest of the top 20 is Austin LaPlante, Dylan Thoreau, Jesse King, Grayson Acevedo, Trent Dunham, Anthony McCreary, Matt Haas, Charles Sanford, Kev Shearer, and Mark Lane. So that is how the top 20 look coming into the race today. Let's take a look at the starting lineup. Starting in the last row is Joshua Collard, Carson Gum. Top 10, Joshua Sekuli is on the pole for this week. Starting next to him is Dorian Facepuncher. Row 2 is Jesse King and Dylan Poteet. Row 3, Rafael Leduc and Dylan Young. Row 4, JT Bryant, James Qualls. And then row 5, Nathaniel Reed and DJ Curtis. With that said, let's go ahead and get the command to fire engines for the Golden Corral 500 at Atlanta.
Drivers, start your engines!
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Pace car bringing out everybody for their one pace lap around the racetrack. That was an interesting sound, that doon, 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 all over the place. But anyways, we are back up here to Joshua Sekuli. But so as far as where we are heading to after this week with 4 races to go, the next race is a mystery track. It was going to be Charlotte Roval. It could still be Charlotte Roval, but it could be a different racetrack. But then after that we got Phoenix, then Sawmill, and then the finale at Kansas. So we shall see how everything's going to play out here today here at Atlanta, as we could see a big shakeup in the top 5 in the points, as a lot of drivers in the top 5 in points are scattered all over the place in the field. Pace car is in pit road, which means it is time to boogity 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 go racing. Well, Joshua Sekuli led lap number 1, and now we got a new driver in second who's about to challenge the leader, and that's JT Bryant in the 22. And look at the speeds that they're going here at this racetrack. They are not slowing down hardly at all, over 200 miles an hour. But now we got Young Motorsports teammates that are going to fight for the lead. JT Bryant led that lap, and now Dylan Young goes to the point. But now here comes another Dylan Thoreau, as we're seeing constant fights going on for the top spot on the racetrack. And meanwhile, Joshua Sekuli finds himself back in third, JT Bryant fourth, and now Matt McIntyre running the Sun Energy 1 24 car this week. He's up here in the top 5. The points leader, Nelson Thornhill, I believe he was starting around mid-pack, and already he's found himself up here in the top 5. So good run going so far for the 78. As doors open. I absolutely hate when my door opens constantly. But anyways, Jonathan Zorline now going to try and challenge Nelson Thornhill for the 4th spot. And Jonathan Zorline's one of those guys outside the top 30 in points that's trying to gain as much points as possible to find himself back in the top 30 so he can be locked in for the first 5 races of next season, because I do believe he is coming back next season. I can't remember what ride he signed up for. Meanwhile, look at this. We saw for a second 4 wide action happening. As meanwhile, 2 of the guys in the top 5 in points are fighting for position on track. In the top 10, or outside the top 10 at this point, David Rivera and Nelson Thornhill are fighting. Oh, but we got a spin happen. But I think they may have saved it. I don't know, but there's a ton of smoke. And I think it could have been from the 19 of Carson Gumman, the 62 Dorian Face Punchers. Face Punchers now in the very back of the field after everything that's happened. And how about Chris Michaels? Chris Michaels second in points. He started 40th, and he's already under 10 laps into the race, already up here in the top 5. What a run going for the 17 team. As the smoke from a spin out between 2 cars, which I do believe was the 62 and the 19. Oh, but now we got a crash. Seth Cole has wrecked, and he may slide up in the traffic. And the caution is out. And Dylan Thoreau still leads as the caution comes out for the first time today in Atlanta for a spin and a crash that happened with Seth Cole. Tough break for the 98. He came in 6th in the points, hoping to gain more momentum, but now he's going to have some work to do. But the 41 of Dylan Thoreau has been your leader for quite a few laps. And now I wonder if everybody's going to come into pit road as they're down on the apron. It looks like everyone is going to come down pit road. I don't see anybody staying out, so we'll stick around for a moment to see who will come out as the leader. As we go to the pit lane camera, where that yellow line is with the 2 cones, that is where we're going to determine who's going to be restarting where for this upcoming restart after we look at the caution. And it looks like everybody's going to go with 4 tires and fuel to get things going. And it looks like the top 5 will be Thoreau, Sakuli, Zorline, Ace Veto, and Trent Dunham will actually round out the top 5. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at a replay of what brought the caution out for the first time today here at Atlanta. Well, here's a look at what happened. So it was 3 wide between Seth Cole, Charles Sanford, and Kyle Matthews. And it looks like right there, Seth Cole got tight, came up into Kyle Matthews, sends Seth Cole down in front of Charles Sanford. And Seth Cole, man, he actually hit that inside wall pretty hard. Passenger side first, and both the front and rear end got crunched. And he was starting to slide back up in the traffic. And because of that was why NNSCRA officials threw the caution, because quite a few cars almost T-boned the 98. But luckily no other cars were damaged, and it was only just a 1-car incident. So let's go ahead and take you to the restart here at Atlanta. Well, no cars retired out of the race after that first caution. All 42 cars are still running on track. But everybody pitted under that caution, so this is your lineup. going into the restart. So Dylan Thoreau is your leader. Second is Joshua Sakuli. Third is Jonathan Zorline. Fourth is Grayson Acevedo. Fifth is Trent Dunham. Sixth is Zach Rogers. Seventh, Matt McIntyre. Eighth, Chris Michaels. Ninth, Kyle Matthews. 10th, James Shelley. 11th is Ashlyn Boyd. 12th is Mark Lane. Excuse me. 13th is JT Bryant. 14th, Benjamin Miles. 15th, Sean Galligan. 16th is Johnny Gardner. 17th, DJ Curtis. 18th is Emmanuel Hartnett. 19th, Dylan Young. 20th, DJ Curtis. Then the rest of the top 30 is Jesse King, Kev Shearer, Rafael LeDuc, Dylan Poteet, Nelson Thornhill, Joshua Collard, Matt Haas, Charles Sanford, Austin LaPlante, Cole Deaver, and then it's James Qualls, Nathaniel Reed, Jessica Sheldon, PJ Williams, Preston Plord, David Rivera, Anthony McCurry, Dorian Facepuncher, Chris Dollarton, Carson Gunn, Tim Fiegel, and Seth Cole. Green flag back out with 33 laps to go, I believe, in this race. Excuse me. As Dylan Thoreau got off to a pretty good jump on that restart, as now it's 3 wide for second. Grayson Acevedo with the run on the inside of Zorline and Sakuli. But now Zach Rogers and Chris Michaels are going to try and break up the party, and Zach Rogers is going to try and take second place away as they are approaching the leader, Dylan Thoreau, so this will end up becoming a battle for the lead as here comes Rogers in the 9. Zach Rogers in his final season in the series as he's going to retire from the rest of the series. But he wants to get his first win in hopes of some confidence going to the replacement driver of that ride, which I don't know who it is at this moment. And whoa! Wow, what a save by Galligan and Bryant. They nearly wrecked off a turn 2 and they saved it. What a job. As back up here at the front, Zach Rogers still is leading the way, and now a battle for second may be coming up. Grayson Acevedo with a run underneath Jonathan Zorline as DJ Curtis now enters the fray. Nelson Thornhill and Chris Michaels were fighting for positions, and they are the top 2 in the points as Thornhill is trying to work his way back up into the top 10 after he fell back a ways during that last run and lost a few spots on pit road, and now he's up to the 8th position right now on track as Rogers still leads. And we may have a battle happen for 5th between 2 Stewart-Haas teammates, Thoreau and Curtis, and here comes Curtis with the run on the inside of the 41. Or actually, no, that's Phil Parker. Why did I say it was DJ Curtis? Curtis is up in 2nd, actually. That's Phil Parker in the 4. So Phil Parker goes by Dylan Thoreau for the 5th position. So all 3 of the Stewart-Haas cars are right now in the top 10, at least for now. Oh, I heard wall scrapings. And I think there's a crash. Oh, this is a multi-car crash. A lot of cars are involved in this. Rafael LeDuc, 5th in points, was involved. Matt McIntyre, Kyle Matthews, Dollarton, Seth Cole got more damage. Emmanuel Hartnett was involved. Joshua Sakuli, the pole sitter, was involved. And look at the damage on the 99. Just when he thought he had some good luck coming back his way, he ends up getting crashed. Tough break for the 99, and he's going to end up losing a ton of points going into the next race. And we're getting closer to the end of the season, so LeDuc couldn't afford more bad runs like this, and it just ended up happening. McCrory was also involved in whatever this was. I knew Trent Dunham was in it, but everybody's pitting at the same time once again, as we're going to go to the pit lane camera to watch and see who's going to come out first, as Zach Rogers came in as the leader. But, man, just a tough break for the 99. And Grayson Acevedo actually going with strategy. I don't know if he went with 2 tires and gas or just gas. But Acevedo is going to be your leader. Then Shelley, then Rogers, Curtis, and Parker will be the top 5 when we get back to racing. But let's go ahead and take a look at a replay of what brought the caution out for the second time today here at Atlanta. Well, they were attempting 4 wide off of turn 2, and 3 of those guys are young motorsports teammates, and Kev Shear just ended up being the meat and the sandwich between his teammates, Dylan Young and Chris Dollerton. They come back up and collect Trent Dunham, and then you're going to see, as the 2 and the 1 come back up, it's going to be Trent Dunham that comes up in front of traffic and collects Rafael LeDuc and Emmanuel Hartnett. And then Joshua Sekuli gets collected, and whoa, Hartnett actually went up in the air and then just got launched again by the 11. Kyle Matthews got collected in there. So did the 24, the 61, the 56. And then there you see Dollerton gets more damage by running into 2 cars. But it looked like as if maybe everything was going to be okay if Trent Dunham didn't come back up in front of traffic. As watches the 1 comes back up right in front of the 99 and the 20, and that just unfortunately caused major problems. As man, the 20 got clobbered in that after he hit LeDuc. He went up in the air and then got hit as he was up in the air by the 11, and just, man, you got to feel for those guys who ended up getting collected. If Trent Dunham didn't come back up in front of traffic, I think we could have had this whole thing avoided, because nobody else was getting collected when the 23 was spinning. But then once Dunham came back up across the racetrack, just ended up collecting everybody that was in the path of all those guys that got collected. And Rafael LeDuc was the one that was the biggest innocent bystander, as well as the 20 of Emmanuel Hartnett. Those 2 guys were just running, and then all of a sudden, up came the 1 car, and then boom, the big one ensues. But actually, we're gonna take a couple onboard shots of what happened. First, we're gonna go to the onboard shot with Joshua Sekuli and then Rafael LeDuc. On board with Joshua Sekuli as the wreck started right there, but then watch as everything happens in front of him. Man, huge hit into the 20. And finally on board with Rafael LeDuc, and this is going to be really interesting to watch. Had no idea that the 1 was coming back up the racetrack. Well, after that last caution, we got 5 cars that retired out of the race after that big one, and they include Trent Dunham, Chris Dollerton, Joshua Sekuli, Rafael LeDuc, and Kyle Matthews. So we're down to 37 cars on track, but we got a new race leader after some pit strategy, and that is Grayson Acevedo. Second is James Shelley. Third is Zach Rogers. Fourth is DJ Curtis. Fifth is Phil Parker. Sixth is Jonathan Zorling. Seventh is Nelson Thornhill. Eighth is Joshua Collard. Ninth is his teammate Sean Galligan. And then 10th is Benjamin Miles. 11th is Dylan Poteet. 12th is Austin LaPlante. 13th, Dylan Thoreau. 14th, Chris Michaels. 15th is PJ Williams. 16th, David Rivera. 17th is Ashwin Boyd. 18th, JT Bryant. 19th, Kev Shear. 20th, Jesse King. And then it's Nathaniel Reed, Johnny Gardner, Preston Plord, James Qualls, Charles Sanford, Dorian Facepuncher, Matt Haas, Dylan Young, Carson Gunn, Jessica Sheldon, Cole Deaver, Seth Cole, Anthony McCurry, Tim Fiegel, Mark Lane, Matt McIntyre, and Emmanuel Hartnett. That's left on track, as the green flag is back out with 23 laps to go. So we're at the halfway point, roughly, in this race. Excuse me. excuse me, Grayson Acevedo got off to a decent jump, but now traffic is coming up to him as here comes Shelley in the 71. And like I've said earlier in the season, James Shelley will be back in that 71 number, but it'll be for a different team. He'll be racing for Furniture Row Racing, and his future teammate Nelson Thornhill is actually going to go by him for position. Thornhill trying to get up back to the front, and now he's going to clear Acevedo for fourth as the caution is out again. Oh, and this looks like another big wreck. More cars involved, including Face Puncher, another guy in the top 5 in points, as he gets clobbered. Ashland Boyd was involved. Looks like LaPlante and Haas got a piece of it. Carson Gum looks like he was involved as well. McCurry was in it again. Fiegel was in it. Matt McIntyre. Mark Lane may have caught up in it as well. Hardnett was in it again. Kev Shear, I think, was involved. Sheldon's the one that took the worst of it, and now everybody's coming back into pit road again. So we're going to go back to the pit lane camera, and this looks like it all happened off of turn 4 down the front stretch when this wreck all happened. But Jonathan Zorline was the leader at the time of the caution. So we're going to see who's going to come out as your leader after all this that has taken place. And it looks like actually Galligan's going to be the leader. So it's going to be Galligan, Zorline, Miles, Thornhill, and Thoreau, the top 5, when we get back to racing. But let's go ahead and take a look at a replay of what brought the caution out for the 3rd time today here at Atlanta. Well, here's a look at what happened. So it was 3 wide coming off of turn 4, and it looks like the similar situation from earlier. LaPlante gets tight up into David Rivera, down into Kev Shearer, and that's going to send both of those cars spinning up across the track, collecting Matt Haas, Ashland Boyd, and PJ Williams, and then Face Puncher. I don't know how Face Puncher ended up getting involved, and whoa, we need to go up here to David Rivera. Does he save it? I think he does. Yeah, he does save it. Great job by the 6 to save that car and not collect anybody else. But a ton of cars in the back of the field got taken out, including 4th in points, Dorian Face Puncher. Now let's go to helicopter view to see how he got involved. I got a feeling he's going to get hit by somebody. Oh, he hit Ashland Boyd. He couldn't see. Oh my goodness, how did Carson Gum get through that wreck? And then right there, Sheldon didn't see the 62 right there and ends up running into the back of him. And then there you see Tim Fiegel get involved. Seth Cole got involved. Anthony McCurry gets more damage. And then Hartnett right there hits the 62, making him spin like a top. So a lot of more cars are probably going to be out of the race after all this, including potentially 4th in points, Dorian Face Punchers. 2 of the top 5 in points have been struggling, so let's go ahead and take you to the restart here at Atlanta. So after that last caution, 4 more cars retired out of the race, and they include excuse me, Emmanuel Hartnett, Dorian Face Puncher, Ashland Boyd, and Jessica Shelton. So we got 9 cars out, 33 left on track. Sean Galligan is your leader. 2nd is Jonathan Zorline. 3rd is Benjamin Miles. 4th is Nelson Thornhill. 5th is Dylan Thoreau. 6th is Chris Michaels. 7th, DJ Curtis. 8th is Dylan Poteet. 9th, Jesse King. 10th, Joshua Collard. 11th is Phil Parker. 12th is JT Bryant. 13th, Charles Sanford. 14th is Nathaniel Reed. 15th, Grayson Acevedo. 16th is Preston Plord. 17th, Dylan Young. 18th, Johnny Gardner. 19th, James Qualls. Excuse me. And 20th is Zach Rogers. 21st is James Shelley. 22nd, David Rivera. 23rd is Cole Deaver. 24th, Matt Haas. 25th, PJ Williams. Rest of the field is Tim Fiegel, Matt McIntyre, Austin LaPlante, Seth Cole, Mark Lane, Carson Gum, Anthony McCurry, and Kev Shearer. I apologize for that. And the green flag is back out with, I think, 17 to go. So we're getting closer to the end of this chaotic affair, but still a great race. But it has been rather chaotic. As Galligan has the top spot, but Benjamin Miles may be having some intentions on trying to take it away from him eventually. Wait a minute! Why in the world are they coming into pit road? They just pitted! They sacrificed a lot of top spots, and now we got a new leader. The top 5 all came into pit road. Thornhill, Miles, Galligan, Zorling, Thoreau, and Curtis. Actually, 6 of them pitted. And I don't know as to why they were in pit road at the same time as everyone else. Maybe it could be strategy, because maybe that's a sign that not everybody's going to make it on gas. I don't know, but that is a bizarre turn of events here in this race, as they sacrificed and risked going a lap or more down after all that. And now JT Bryant is the leader. And now Charles Sanford is going to try and challenge for the top spot. Preston Plord now going to try and battle with Charles Sanford for position. As a bizarre turn of events has just taken place here in this race that has shaken up the complexity of how this race may end. But yeah, those guys that pitted, Thornhill, Curtis, Zorling, Miles, Galligan, and Thoreau, are all hoping that no caution comes out, and then hopefully that everybody else has to come into pit road so they could get back on the lead lap and maybe take back the top spots on track. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if we stay green the rest of the way. But Preston Plord currently is your leader, as a battle for second is ensuing between Grayson Acevedo and Cole Deaver. Acevedo takes that spot, but now JT Bryant's making his way back up, and 2 teammates out of Roush and 2 of the top 5 in points, Rivera and Michaels, are trying to get up there. David Rivera came into the race 8 points behind the points lead and 4 points behind Chris Michaels, and now they're close together. And with Thornhill deciding to pit under green flag conditions after a restart and currently 29th, a lap down, this is a huge gain in the points for both gentlemen. As now Grayson Acevedo has the top spot on track, as they are going to approach 2 slow machines of Anthony McCurry and Kev Shearer. And now Acevedo gets held up. And look at the run, Rivera. Oh my goodness, Rivera gets taken out, and now the caution is out again, and the big one, Chris Michaels involved. Oh my goodness, Charles Sanford goes flipping. Oh man, they're going to crash a lot more cars. Maybe not. Oh, there's goes some. LaPlante runs into the back of more cars. Oh man, here comes some of those lap down cars. They got to be careful. Thornhill manages to avoid that, but man, David Rivera tried going for a monster move to get by lap machines, and the lap cars came up right in front of him and just clobbered him and caused another big crash. Charles Sanford was involved, JT Bryant, Phil Parker, Preston Plord, Chris Michaels, another one of the guys in the top 5. Man, 4 out of the top 5 guys in points have wrecked today. The 17, the 6, the 99, and the 62. The only one that hasn't crashed is the points leader, Nelson Thornhill, but he is a lap down. So, interesting turn of events we have just witnessed here in this race, as Nathaniel Reed somehow takes the lead over after that mayhem. But let's go ahead and take a look at a replay of what brought the caution out for the 4th time today here at Atlanta. So all this starts whenever the leaders catch up to the slower, damaged cars, and David Rivera tries to go for a crazy move to go by the lap cars and get the lead, but Kev Shearer, for some reason, comes up in front of David Rivera and just completely clobbers him into the wall and takes out so many good cars that could have won the race. And then right there, a hit from Cole Deaver sends Charles Sanford flipping. Zach Rogers got involved. Nathaniel Reed, the leader, actually got a piece of it, even though he's still out on the track. But you got to wonder if he's going to be up to speed. Jesse King was in it. More cars are going to come into the fray here momentarily. There you see a couple of them. Seth Cole, Austin LaPlante. Right there, run-ins in the back of David Rivera's. Big hits were given. And LaPlante even for a second went underneath the 6 as all this took place. And then right there, Benjamin Miles, who was one of those guys who pitted after the last restart, gets into the back of Austin LaPlante. And Jonathan Zorline gets involved. So that was 2 of those 6 drivers that pitted early involved. Nelson Thornhill did a great job to avoid getting hit or hitting somebody. But just, man, oh man, you gotta wonder if David Rivera and among other drivers are going to be really pissed off at Kev Shearer for that, because, man, that was all on Kev Shearer. I mean, he should not have come up in front of David Rivera like that whenever he knew that Rivera was going for the lead and trying to maybe take the points lead over, but now who knows what's going to happen. But let's go ahead and take you to the restart here at Atlanta. Well, after that last caution, numerous cars retired out of the race after that, and they include Cole Deaver, Austin LaPlante, David Rivera, JT Bryant, Charles Sanford, Chris Michaels, Jesse King, Phil Parker, Seth Cole, Preston Plord, Kev Shearer, and Benjamin Miles. So that was the biggest wreck we've had all day. When we get back racing, it'll be 6 laps to go, I want to say. And Nathaniel Reed is your race leader. 2nd is Dylan Poteet. 3rd is Dylan Young. 4th, Johnny Gardner. 5th, Joshua Collard. 6th, James Qualls. 7th, James Shelley. 8th, Zach Rogers. 9th, Grayson Acevedo. 10th, Matt McIntyre. 11th is PJ Williams. 12th, Mark Lane. 13th is Matt Haas. 14th, Carson Gum. 15th is Tim Fiegel. 16th, Anthony McCurry. And then everybody else that's still on track is lapped down. Nelson Thornhill, DJ Curtis, Sean Galligan, Dylan Thoreau, and Jonathan Zorline. But this is an interesting restart because Nathaniel Reed was involved in that wreck, and it's a question of whether or not he's going to be up to speed. But from the looks of it, he is. But it looks like Zach Rogers is not up to speed all the way. So that's interesting to say the least as to what's happened with him. As meanwhile, Nathaniel Reed still hangs on to the top spot. And now here comes, in the Deadpool Dodge, Joshua Collard with a run on the inside, with help from James Qualls in the 70. As Qualls in the 70 car is now trying to get his way up to the front, and it has been quite a while since James Qualls has won a race, and he's had a lot of bad luck lately, and he's looking to get a good finish, as now Poteet's going to go by for position. That's for 2nd. Poteet's actually trying to go for win number 4 this season. I believe it'd be win number 4, and now he's coming underneath of Collard. So this is getting big, as it's now 3 laps to go here at Atlanta, and Poteet trying to clear Collard, and here comes Dylan Young with a run. Dylan Young trying to go for win number 1 this season, after he missed, I think, only 1 race this season from falling out of the top 30. He's been hanging in there in the top 30 in points, and he's trying to go for win number 1. Johnny Gardner's right there as well. But Poteet trying to go for win number 4. Dylan Young trying to catch up to Poteet. I don't know if they're going to have enough time unless they can pull something off, but there's a big margin starting to form. So I don't know if the 2's going to get him or the 15, as now they're going to fight for second, pretty much giving the win away. As now the white flag is out for Dylan Poteet in 31 to go for win number 4 this season. And he's been on the outside of top 30 in points most of the season. And he's been very, very good on some of these tracks, or somehow it's all by luck in this case. But it doesn't matter. Poteet's up here at the front of the field. As we're coming out of turn 4, checkered flag is starting to wave. Dylan Poteet wins the Golden Corral 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. After one of the most chaotic races all season, Poteet comes through with the W for the 4th time this season. Let's look at the rest of the results, as his teammate Johnny Gardner comes through with a 2nd place run, so we had a Tweenix Racing 1-2 today. Joshua Collard, great run in the 3rd spot. That will help his chances out of potentially getting back into the top 30 in points, though I don't think he's going to get back up there. It does help his chances. Nathaniel Reed was the highest finishing rookie, comes through with a solid run in 4th and a great run in 5th for James Quall. Solid 6th place finish for Dylan Young. Solid 7th place run for James Shelley. Great run in 8th for Mark Lane. Solid run in 9th for Matt McIntyre. Then a great run in 10th for PJ Williams. Rest of the lead lap cars were Matt Haas, Zach Rogers, Grayson Acevedo, Carson Gum, Tim Fiegel, and Anthony McCrory. The rest of the cars that finished were a lap down. Dylan Thoreau, DJ Curtis, Nelson Thornhill, Sean Galligan, and Jonathan Zorline. Everybody else, half of the field was out of the race after all the wrecks that happened. And they were Cole Deaver, Austin LaPlante, David Rivera, JT Bryant, Charles Sanford, Chris Michaels, Jesse King, Phil Parker, Seth Cole, Preston Plord, Kev Shearer, Benjamin Miles, Emmanuel Hartnett, Dorian Facepuncher, Ashlyn Boyd, Jessica Sheldon, Trent Dunham, Chris Dollarton, and Joshua Cooley, Rafael Leduc, and Kyle Matthews. So that does it for our coverage here today at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Next race will be a mystery. Where are we going? I don't know. But until then, here are your results, rookie points, and regular points heading into that race. And this is Levi McIntyre signing off.